Welcome back, Towners. Today we're going to make some steak and roasted broccoli. Let's get it. Alright guys, to start off this recipe here, we have our ribeye steaks. These two steaks are about almost about a ½ inch thick. We went ahead and took a paring knife and cut off this little triangle shaped piece of fat that's near the bottom half of where the bone is. We're going to keep it. We're not going to throw it away or anything. We're going to use that to cook the steak and get some of that flavor out of the fat while we're frying it up. But we went ahead and seasoned the steak with some kosher salt, some black pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. We went ahead and flipped the steaks over and repeated the process again: kosher salt, black pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And once we seasoned those up, we went ahead and just set those to the side. And now we got out a additional baking tray and put down some silicone mats. You can use that if you have, or you can also use just some aluminum foil or parchment paper, whatever you want. We went ahead and pulled out some handfuls of frozen broccoli, and then sprayed that with some cooking spray. After we sprayed it with cooking spray, we hit it up with the exact same seasons that we put on the steak: some kosher salt, black pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And after we seasoned that up, we put that into a preheated oven that was at 450 degrees and let that roast for about 15 to 20 minutes. We also had added in two of our homies on there, doing some jalapenos to roast with that also. Now we have our skillet available, a cast iron skillet. We heated that up on high. We had that in the oven the whole time it was preheating up to 450 degrees to get that hot enough, and then put that on the stove top. Dropped in some olive oil and then put in our little piece of fat that we saved, and used that to swirl around the oil in the pan and render some of that fat out while it cooked. We threw in our steaks and seasoned that up with some we already advised what we seasoned with the kosher salt, black pepper, salt, and pepper. But we let that go on the first side for about 5 minutes to get a good sear on that. And then we flipped the steaks over, inserted our probe thermometer, and put that into the oven with the roasted broccoli. We left the temperature at 450 degrees, and with the oven, we let that go for took about 8 or 9 minutes to reach our mark. We were going for medium well on the steaks. We pulled it out of the oven at about 150. Once we put it out of the oven, flipped the steaks over and realized that I didn't really get a good sear on that back half. So I kind of put it back on the heat, and at that point, and overshot my mark. But we took the steaks off out of the pan and put it on a wire rack to let that rest for about 5 minutes. Here is our broccoli after it came out of the oven. We originally went for 15 minutes, but at the 15-minute mark, the broccoli wasn't as crisp as I wanted it to be. It wasn't browned up enough, so I let it go for another 5 minutes, and this is how it looked once it came out. The additional seasoning that was on the bottom half of the baking pan, we just went ahead and just tossed the broccoli inside that just to get some additional coating of the seasoning everywhere, and then remove that from the baking tray and place it into a bowl with the jalapenos. Now here we are with our taste test. We hit the steaks and the broccoli up with some of our customary Tabasco sauce, and then we went ahead to cut up our steak. I was cutting the steak up. It was a combination of, after cooking the steak and taking the pictures and everything, and then went ahead for the taste test. It was kind of cold at this point. I didn't heat it back up, but it was kind of cold. But also you can see it's kind of tough. It toughened up on me, and I overshot my mark. You can see on the close up that I went past the medium well portion. Actually, what I did was, like I said, when I took the steak out of the oven and I flipped it over, I realized that I didn't get a good sear on the bottom half of the steak, and which I didn't need. I already had a good sear on the first half, which would have been like presentation side. But when I flipped it over and put it into the oven, and it baked. It kind of steamed a little bit. It didn't get a good sear on the second half like it did on the front side. I mean, I had it in the oven at 450 on high end, but I didn't get a good sear on that second half. So what I did was, which I shouldn't have did, when I took it back out of the oven, I just went ahead and turned the heat back on high and cooked the back half of the meat again for another minute or two. And in doing so, the temperature shot past the medium well mark and went into well done, and overshot my mark, which wasn't a problem. I mean, I don't have a problem with a well done steak, but I mean, if I go to a restaurant, I will request medium or medium well. But yeah, I messed up. So, I mean, don't come at me. I know, steak guys that are super serious with their steaks of not eating anything past the medium or medium well, and definitely not doing well done. But it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I still eat a well done steak. I mean, I used to eat those all the time until I switched over to medium or medium well. But the steak is still very nice, has a nice good crust on it, and very, very flavorful, a lot of seasoning. The salt and pepper went heavy on that, and added the onion powder and garlic powder on it. And that simple seasoning worked. I mean, I was simply just going to do salt and pepper, but I just went ahead and added onion powder and garlic powder to it also. So you can add whatever additional seasons that you want. Yeah, I just went over. I just went over on that. But here are some pictures of our steaks, some close-ups of it before we cut it up. You can see a nice char on the outside, and you can see the seasonings from the kosher salt, black pepper all over it. Here's a picture of our roasted broccoli, seasoned with the same ingredients. Just for the broccoli, take it straight out of the freezer and put it on the baking tray. Hit it with some cooking spray, and then salt and pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and let it go. You can also hit it with some lemon pepper seasoning if you like, to give it a little extra taste. But just make sure after the 15 minutes, if it's not browned up to your liking, just watch it at that point. You can also, if you want to, put it on underneath the broiler and let it brown up and crisp up a little bit more. That will hit it a little bit faster. But just don't let it burn to a crisp or anything. And that works great. It keeps its crunch. It doesn't get too soggy or limp as it does if you were to microwave it or broil it or anything. The oven on high helps to keep it and get a good, nice, good crunch and bite to it. Serve that with some sour cream. I love my broccoli now with sour cream and salt and pepper on it. It helps. The sour cream helps with lightening up your palate and just keeping everything light and fresh. If you guys have any comments or questions, please feel free to hit us up and let me know in the comment section below. I know I'm gonna get some comments about my overcooked steak, but hey, things happen. Everybody's not perfect. I'm not no professional. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for rocking with us, and please enjoy, guys.
Enjoy, and please subscribe. Enjoy.
Hey Towners, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. All ingredients and directions are listed in the description box below each video. And as always, thank you guys for watching.